A man was apprehended in Cross River State attempting to sell his children. He was selling the 5-year-old boy for 200,000 naira and the 4-year-old girl for 150,000 naira in the open market. When he was asked why, he said he was trying to get out of poverty and he couldn't look after his children. While human trafficking and the sale of children in this country is a huge crime that apparently a lot of people are aware of, it hasn't stopped the sale of children in so many parts of this country. So, what is driving this? Is Nigeria really that hellish that people are willing to sell their own children? To have this conversation right here in the studio, I have Anthony Idoko, who is a legal practitioner as well as a father. Welcome, Anthony.
Thank you very much.
And I have Damilola Bukbola, who is a legal practitioner, but she is more a child's rights activist. Welcome, Damilola.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So, as a parent, Anthony, when you heard this, a father attempting to sell his children because he was too poor, what were the first things that went through your mind? He knows it's a crime, but he was willing to do that in the open market.
Nigerians, I don't know what's wrong with us, but I think there are a lot of problems here. Some are mental health, poverty, frustration, but I think that, I don't know if such parents are well. Because if you are poor and you want to get out of poverty, instead of selling your children, why don't you sell yourself and give the money, leave the money for the children to survive? You can sell yourself. There are people, I'm sure there are people who will be willing to, who will be willing to buy you. Yeah, somewhere. We're in a society today where we act like we don't have feelings. We are so disconnected emotionally, you know, and otherwise from people. You know, we are so detached. How can you sell your child and sleep that night? How can? If you are well. You know, it's the same thing that is playing out in politics. You see, we have politicians who are detached from us. They don't feel, they have no feelings, you know, because if you have feelings, okay, if you felt anything for your people, you would not take money meant to build hospitals, you know, and sleep. Because you're supposed to be connected to the people. There's supposed to be an emotion. There's supposed to be an attachment, okay, that makes you say, no, I can't do this. You wake up in the middle of the night and say, no, this is wrong. I can't do this to these people.
And some people could say it is this detachment that the politicians have shown to the people that have driven them to the point that they're detached from their own families.
These are the kind of people, this man tomorrow could end up being a politician. If probably, I mean, there are people like him. If he ends up tomorrow as a congressman or as a politician, a governor, a man who sells his children or his child, okay, because he says he's hungry, do you think that man can do anything for the people?
Damilola, I want to get your thoughts on this.
Well, when it comes to child rights, the best interest of the child is to be protected at all times. Section 1 of the Child Rights Act guarantees this. When it comes to selling babies, selling children, Section 30 of the Child Rights Act outrightly outlaws this and punishes this with, I think, 10 years imprisonment for selling babies, for selling your children. So it is not what the law, it's what the law frowns at, actually. And I believe it actually boils down to the value of life, the value attached to life. If you, as a parent, you know, attach so much value to your child, you would not be able to sell that type of child out.
Damilola, this happened in Cross River State. Cross River State. And you have a peculiar story about this place.
Yes.
Please share with us.
Yes. When it comes to Cross River State, there's the Becheve culture. And it's a type of culture that views the girl child. It could be used as They could be used as sex slaves. They could be exploited. I mean, when it comes to child labor. So they do farm work. They cook for the household.
And you know, the reason this is pretty interesting is because NAPTIP and so many organizations like yours have worked to end baby factories, sale of children, sale of humans and all of that. But it seems there is a demand and supply driving this business. Clearly, there are people who are willing to buy children, and clearly there are people willing to sell children. And demand and supply drives any business. So what would you say either the law or foundations like yours is doing to curb this demand and supply cycle? Because once it exists, we will continue to hear about this. It feels like a cycle.
Nigeria is the type of country whereby we love to have like our laws, and they just exist as white elephant projects in the sense that it's just in the book. But when you look at the rates of implementation compared to the amount of laws we have, they're really poor. So that's why I understand NAPTIP, NGOs, CSOs are doing a lot, you know, reaching out and all that. But how many people have been persecuted for the crime? You know, so you have lots of cases because it's like, I can do it and get away with it. And I think there's also something called the culture of silence. That's why, you know your neighbor is doing this thing, but you keep quiet. So when everybody keeps quiet, I keep quiet, you keep quiet, then people think they can get away with it.
What about situations where people are clearly overwhelmed, they have more children than they can handle? Now, before you even say why have more children than you can handle, let's look, we are in a society where culture, probably in some cultures, you can't do family planning. Some religions that we know, some denominations, even in Christianity, will not allow you to, you know, do family planning. They say, as God gave you, you can take care of them. Some people don't have the education to do, you know, to regulate the number of babies they have. And they wake up and they have so many babies and they're overwhelmed.
They know what they do. At least they don't sell them. They just release them to go and do some other things, whatever they want to do, maybe beg, look for money. You don't sell them. Yeah, I know.
But you see, that's the thing. That's the thing.
Also a crime.
You see, but the thing I'm concerned about, okay, like for the Section 11 of the Child Rights Act, it talks about dignity of the child.
Yes.
Okay, the child is guaranteed personal dignity. And I think that people who are buying, we should also begin to deal with them. If you want a child, you don't have to go and buy. I mean, you go to an orphanage, you go and do the legal documentation and everything, and you get a child legally.
I have been with a woman who worked for 5 years just to get a baby. Adoption is a very cumbersome process in this country. At least I know that, having worked with a lot of parents mothers who are trying to become parents, or people who are trying to become parents. And that could also be one of the major issues that is also driving this child sale, because you could actually buy a child for a period of 3 months or even 9 months. But adopting a child in this country is so cumbersome.
When you look at all this procedure, why not just buy? You know, that's what just comes. It's easier. You know, it's easier. You can just easily purchase your child and you don't need to go through all the process. It's just like you went on a trip and you're back with your baby. So I think it's not to encourage, you know, selling babies though. But I think when a system frustrates you, it's in a way just makes people find the easy way out. And then they're like, okay, this is just an easier option. And then they go for it.
And I think the law needs to really, I mean, for the past 5 years that I have been exposed to this adoption debacle, the law really has to take action in this situation, because there are many babies who want parents and there are many parents who want babies. But then you have this legal process that won't allow both of them merge and, you know, children find suitable families.
Or just being, exactly. So these are one of the things.
But I also think that the problem they're having is that they just go straight. Maybe they should get a lawyer. Get a lawyer to help you with the legal, with the procedures. But they just want to go straight, you know, and get the baby, you know, and that's, it's not going to be easy if you do it that way. Get the services of a lawyer, someone like her, who's in the system.
Exactly. It's a long process. Thank you so much, Damilola, for taking our time to talk to us. And of course, Ijoku Anthony, for talking to us. This is a very sensitive conversation. While it could look black and white, somebody has committed a crime, punish him. Maybe we need to be looking at all the factors that led to the crime even being committed. Even maybe the criminal could even be a victim in some way. And just like Anthony said, maybe if things were better in this country, we wouldn't even be getting to that point. Please give us your comments on the comment section of this video. My name is Gloria Oje Emodi, and you're watching Rootstv Nigeria.